Have you ever felt different? Like you're sensing things others can't see or feel? Have you walked into a room and instantly felt a heavy energy? Or dreamed something so vivid it later came true? If these experiences sound familiar, you're not alone, and you might just be someone with a unique spiritual gift. Spiritually gifted people experience the world in ways most can't comprehend. They tune into energies, emotions, and even unseen realms that others overlook. But here's the twist. These gifts aren't always a walk in the park. In fact, they often show up as strange, even unsettling signs that can leave you puzzled or uneasy. In today's video, we'll uncover 10 weird phenomena that often affect those with spiritual gifts. Some may seem like mere coincidences at first, until you realize they point to something deeper, from unexplained exhaustion and overwhelming emotions to animals acting strangely around you. These are clues you might be more connected to the invisible world than you think. This isn't about superstition. It's about awakening to a deeper understanding of yourself and the hidden layers of your existence. By the end of this video, you might see your place in the world in an entirely new light. So buckle up and join us on this mystical journey as we explore the signs of spiritual gifts and what they mean for you. Let's dive in. Some people are natural healers. Some can read energy. Others have a powerful intuition that almost feels supernatural. What seems effortless to you may feel like climbing a mountain to someone else. But unlike common talents like singing or painting, spiritual gifts are often hidden. They don't scream for attention. In fact, some people go their whole lives without realizing they possess one. Why? Because spiritual gifts are subtle, complex, and sometimes even misunderstood by others and by the ones who carry them. While some gifts are immediately obvious, like sensing spirits or seeing vivid visions, others require a deep connection to self, a quiet mind, and a whole lot of self-trust to fully awaken. In today's fast-paced digital world, the idea of having a spiritual gift might sound outdated or even woo-woo to some. Technology and science have become the new religion, explaining away what we used to consider mystical. If something can't be measured, scanned, or downloaded, it's often dismissed. But just because we can't put it under a microscope doesn't mean it isn't real. In fact, many people associate spiritual abilities with ancient cultures or developing nations, places where spirituality is still honored and practiced daily. But make no mistake, spiritually gifted people are everywhere. They walk among us quietly. Teachers, artists, parents, empaths, even skeptics who haven't yet uncovered their truth. And while these gifts can feel empowering, they can also become overwhelming or isolating when not understood or managed properly. The signs of a spiritual gift aren't always dramatic. Sometimes they show up as anxiety that seems to have no cause, vivid dreams that come true, or sudden exhaustion in crowded spaces. These are more than just quirks. They're potential signals that your energy interacts with the world on a different level. 1. They are an empath. Feeling the world. Deeply, one of the most recognizable signs of someone with a spiritual gift is their deep empathy. But being an empath isn't just about being sensitive. It's about truly feeling what others feel, even when no words are spoken. It's walking into a room and instantly sensing tension, sorrow, joy, or anxiety, sometimes even more clearly than the people experiencing it themselves. Empaths absorb emotions like sponges. If someone close is battling sadness, fear, or frustration, an empath feels it as if it's their own burden. This is both a gift and a challenge. Many spiritually gifted empaths don't just pick up on someone's energy. They carry it, process it, and even try to transform it. They have an almost compulsive drive to help others feel better, even at the cost of their own emotional well-being. This intense emotional awareness allows empaths to be incredible friends, counselors, healers, and spiritual guides. They listen deeply, respond intuitively, and often know what someone needs without being told. Their presence alone can be calming, like emotional first aid for those in pain. But this gift also has its downside. When surrounded by too much negativity, an empath can feel overwhelmed, drained, or even physically ill. Crowded rooms, emotionally charged environments, or witnessing suffering can be exhausting. That's why many spiritually gifted empaths need frequent solitude, not because they're antisocial, but because they need space to recharge their emotional energy. Some empaths even describe feeling restless when someone they care about is struggling. They can't relax until they know the other person is okay. They might send a message, make a call, or even show up unannounced because something inside them knows something is wrong. If this sounds like you, if you've ever found yourself feeling the feelings of others more deeply than your own and going out of your way to soothe emotional wounds, there's a good chance you're carrying a powerful spiritual gift. 2. They strongly sense negative energy in the environment. People with spiritual gifts often function like emotional and energetic antennas, picking up frequencies in the air that others can't sense. You've probably experienced this before. Walking into a room where no one is arguing, no words are exchanged, and yet you just know something is off. Maybe the air feels heavy, your chest tightens, or there's a strange buzzing in your ears. Something invisible, but undeniably wrong. That's not imagination. That's your spiritual radar activating. Spiritually gifted individuals are extremely sensitive to energetic imbalances, especially negative ones. They don't need someone to speak in anger, cry in pain, or confess their anxiety. They feel the emotion sitting beneath the surface. Even when people mask their expressions, even when there's laughter and smiles, a spiritually gifted person can still tell when something isn't right. They read the room in ways science can't explain, but their accuracy is often uncanny. This makes them incredibly valuable in both personal and professional settings. They might know a meeting is about to go south before anyone raises a voice. They might recognize that a friend is heartbroken before that friend says a word. Their gift allows them to act as energetic balancers, stepping in, grounding the space, or quietly withdrawing to avoid being overwhelmed. But this sensitivity can also be a burden. Constant exposure to energetic negativity, whether from people, spaces, or events, can leave them mentally, emotionally, and even physically exhausted. They may feel drained after being in certain places like hospitals, funerals, crowded cities, or even particular homes with dense energy. Some may develop rituals like burning sage, using crystals, or taking salt baths, not as trends, but as survival tools. Interestingly, this ability can sometimes make others uncomfortable too. People feel seen around them in ways they're not used to. A spiritually gifted person can sense the unspoken, and that level of awareness can be intimidating for those who prefer to keep their emotions hidden. If you've ever sensed a dark cloud hanging in the air when no one else seemed to notice, you're not paranoid. You might just have a heightened sensitivity to energy. And that's not just a quirk, that's a sign of something deeply spiritual at work within you. 3. They wake up during spiritual and sacred hours. Have you ever found yourself waking up in the middle of the night, specifically between 3 and 4 a.m., without an alarm, without a noise, and with no real reason? Maybe it wasn't just a random awakening. Maybe it was a spiritual nudge, a quiet call from a realm most people sleep through. In spiritual traditions across cultures, this mysterious time is often referred to as the witching hour or sacred hour. It's believed to be the window where the veil between the physical and spiritual world is thinnest, when energies, spirits, and messages from beyond are more easily felt, seen, or heard. And if you keep waking up during this hour, you may be more attuned to that realm than you realize. Spiritually gifted people don't just wake up at this time. They often feel restless, alert, or called, even if they don't know why. Some feel pulled to meditate, journal, pray, or simply sit in silence. Others might feel a presence nearby. Some even report hearing whispers, sensing movement, or experiencing sudden surges of clarity or inspiration. This time of night isn't just about insomnia. It's about alignment with spiritual frequency. If you're being stirred from sleep again and again between 3 and 4 a.m., it might be because a message is trying to reach you or a presence needs your attention. Some spiritually gifted people serve as messengers, healers, or energetic bridges between worlds. These nocturnal wake-ups might be your spirit guides checking in, or your higher self urging you to listen more closely. Of course, it can be unsettling. Waking up night after night at the same strange hour can lead to anxiety or confusion, especially when you don't understand what's happening. But once you recognize this as a potential spiritual alignment, not a disruption, you can begin to embrace it. Try this. Next time you wake up at that sacred hour, instead of reaching for your phone or trying to force yourself back to sleep, breathe deeply and ask, "What do I need to know right now?" Over time, you may begin to notice patterns, repeated thoughts, images, dreams, or emotions tied to your nightly awakenings. And those patterns may reveal insights, warnings, or revelations meant just for you. If this happens to you often, it's not random, it's not coincidence. It might be the universe saying, you're listening when others are silent, you're awake when others are asleep, you're being called. For their emotions affect their spiritual environment. For spiritually gifted individuals, emotions are not just internal experiences. They are energetic forces that can ripple outward and influence the environment itself. It's as if the world responds to their inner state, reflecting the harmony or chaos residing within them. Have you ever been so upset that the lights flickered, or noticed electronics glitching when your energy was running high? Maybe you've seen things break or go haywire during emotional overwhelm, then return to normal once you calm down. To most people, it's coincidence. But for those with spiritual gifts, it might be something more, a spiritual emotional resonance that tangibly impacts their surroundings. This connection between mood and environment is subtle but profound. When someone with a spiritual gift is sad, the room may feel heavy, like the air itself thickens. Plants may seem to droop, technology might freeze or malfunction, animals act strangely. But when they are happy, the energy shifts. The room feels lighter, conversations flow, nature seems to brighten in their presence. This isn't magic, it's magnetism. Spiritually gifted individuals often have highly charged auras. Their emotional frequencies are so strong that they affect not only other people, but the natural and material world around them. Some describe this as being plugged in to a higher current of energy, where feelings act like electrical signals that echo into the space they occupy. It's no surprise then that many spiritually gifted people learn over time to become emotional alchemists, masters at regulating their inner world to maintain peace in their outer one. They're not cold or detached, quite the opposite. They feel everything, but they begin to recognize that their emotional state is not just personal, it's powerful, and with that power comes a certain responsibility. They may turn to grounding practices, meditation, nature walks, music, journaling, not just for self-care, but because they understand that when they're balanced, the space around them transforms too. When spiritually gifted individuals walk into a chaotic room and bring calm, it's not just their presence, it's their frequency shifting the energy. If you've ever noticed strange occurrences linked to your emotional state, or sensed that your energy changes how others feel or act, this is more than coincidence. This is one of the strongest signs that your inner world is deeply entwined with the spiritual fabric of reality itself. Strangers regularly approach them. There's something about spiritually gifted people that draws others in, especially those who are lost, wounded, or searching for something they can't quite name. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle. A stranger sits beside them on a park bench and suddenly begins to pour out their life story. A cashier stares at them a second too long, then shares something deeply personal. A child they've never met runs up and hugs them. Without hesitation, these aren't coincidences. These are spiritual encounters. Spiritually gifted individuals emit a certain kind of energy, an aura of safety, wisdom, and presence. It makes people feel seen, understood, calmer, even if only for a moment. And the people who pick up on this the most aren't always the most normal or grounded. Often it's the emotionally raw, mentally unbalanced, or spiritually hungry who feel the strongest pull. These strangers aren't necessarily crazy, but they are often in need of healing, in need of truth, in need of connection. And without knowing why, they find themselves pulled toward those with a spiritual gift like moths to a flame. It's as if the universe, in its own invisible wisdom, keeps directing broken people to those who can hold space for healing, even if it's just with a kind word, a listening ear, or a silent presence. And for the spiritually gifted, this can be both beautiful and exhausting. On the one hand, they recognize their role. They know they are meant to be lighthouses in a stormy sea. But on the other hand, it can feel overwhelming to constantly attract people who are struggling, especially when boundaries are ignored or energy is drained. It's common for spiritually gifted people to wonder, why do strangers always tell me everything? Or why do I attract people who need fixing? It's not a flaw, it's a signal of your spiritual frequency. You radiate something the world aches for: truth, calm, compassion, presence. But it's vital to remember this. You are not required to heal everyone. You're a channel, not a reservoir. Your gift is to offer light, but you still need rest, protection, and discernment. So the next time a stranger tells you something deeply personal or seeks you out seemingly at random, pause and recognize. This is your gift in motion. You didn't just happen to be there, you were placed there for a moment, for a reason, for someone who needed what only you could give. 6. They can sense weather and seasonal shifts without forecasts. The nature whisperers. Long before meteorologists and smartphone apps predicted rain or sunshine, people relied on instinct, observation, and a quiet dialogue with nature to understand what was coming. For spiritually gifted individuals, that instinct has never left. They don't need Doppler radar or 5-day forecast to know that a storm is approaching. The seasons are shifting, or something in the Earth's rhythm is about to change. They feel it in their bones, their breath, their dreams. This connection to the natural world is more than sensitivity. It's a kind of spiritual synchrony. People with spiritual gifts are often deeply attuned to Earth's energetic cycles, and their bodies reflect those changes in real time. They might feel achy before a thunderstorm, anxious before a cold front, energized as spring arrives, heavy when autumn begins to fall. These aren't just mood swings, they're responses to nature's subtle communications. Many spiritually gifted individuals describe an almost psychic relationship with the weather. Some can smell the rain before it falls. Others feel off the entire day before a major atmospheric shift, only to realize a storm or heat wave was on the horizon. And some can even predict climate events, not through science, but through intuition, dream messages, or a deep unspoken knowing. This phenomenon isn't random. It reflects a profound elemental bond, a spiritual tether between human consciousness and the natural world. Where others see clouds, spiritually gifted people might feel tension. Where others enjoy a breeze, they might sense a warning. Where others complain about the cold, they might feel its spiritual purpose, cleansing, stillness, reflection. These people are, in a sense, weather empaths. They're connected not just to people, but to the spirit of the planet itself. This is why many of them love being in nature. Forests recharge them, oceans calm them, mountains speak to them. They may find themselves drawn to sacred places, old trees, open skies, wild fields, where the earth's energy is raw and untouched. But like with all spiritual gifts, this awareness can be a burden. Sudden shifts in weather can drain their energy. Prolonged artificial environments like air-conditioned buildings or concrete cities can leave them feeling disconnected or dulled. To thrive, they must return to nature often, grounding themselves in soil, sunlight, and silence. If you've ever predicted the rain before it fell or felt unease before a sudden temperature drop, don't brush it off. You might not be following the weather might be following you. 7. They attract animals. Messengers know their own. If you've ever had a dog follow you down the street, a cat curl up next to you out of nowhere, or birds perch a little closer than they should, chances are you've felt the unique connection between spiritual energy and the animal kingdom. Spiritually gifted people don't just attract humans, they attract animals, often in the most unexpected and magical ways. Why? Because animals operate almost entirely through instinct, energy, and vibration. They don't speak our language, but they are masters at reading what lies beneath the surface. They can sense fear, anger, peace, and kindness. And when they encounter someone whose spiritual frequency is pure, gentle, or healing, they come closer, without hesitation, without fear. Animals recognize spiritually gifted individuals as safe spaces, as calm, grounded, and spiritually clean. While others may see animals as wild or unpredictable, the gifted see them as spiritual allies, living beings with their own wisdom, emotions, and sacred roles in this world. That's why many spiritually attuned people prefer the company of animals over humans. With animals, there's no mask, no manipulation, just presence and truth. Cats, for instance, are known to gravitate toward people who carry healing energy. In many cultures, they're considered guardians of spiritual gates, drawn to protect those who walk between worlds. Dogs, on the other hand, offer loyalty and unconditional love, but they're also powerful empaths, often mirroring their human's emotional state. Birds are seen as messengers. Deer bring gentleness. Even insects, reptiles, and wild creatures will sometimes appear repeatedly in a spiritually gifted person's life, often carrying symbolic meaning or guidance. This deep bond often starts in childhood. Spiritually gifted children may be the ones who animals immediately flock to. They'll talk to bugs, cry over injured birds, and treat every creature as an equal. These early connections are often the first signs of their natural alignment with life in all its forms. For the spiritually gifted adult, this bond continues to evolve. Animals may approach during moments of emotional turmoil, offering comfort without a single word. They may stare deeply into your eyes as if they're seeing something others can't. And perhaps they are. If animals feel safe around you, trust you easily or seek you out when others can't get near, take it as a sign. They sense your light, they know your soul, and in their silent, instinctive way, they're telling you you belong to something much greater. You're part of this earth in ways most people have forgotten. At 8, they often have time travel experiences, visions, déjà vu, and the bending of time. Have you ever had a moment where reality felt like it paused, just long enough for a vision, a flash, or a scene to unfold in your mind? And then, days, weeks, or even months later, you saw that exact event play out in real life. That eerie, indescribable feeling is more than just déjà vu. For spiritually gifted individuals, it may be a form of time travel through consciousness. While it may sound like science fiction, many people with spiritual gifts report vivid mental flashes of events before they happen. Sometimes it's a full scene, The weather, the sounds, the people, the exact words spoken. Other times it's a feeling, a certainty that something is about to happen, even if it defies logic. Then, when the moment arrives, reality folds into that memory-like sensation, confirming what they already knew. This ability isn't always controllable. In fact, it can be spontaneous, jarring, and confusing, especially when the vision shows something difficult or emotionally charged. But make no mistake, this is a gift of foresight, one of the oldest and most sacred abilities across spiritual traditions. Shamans, oracles, prophets, mystics, they all shared this ability to see beyond time, to tap into the dimension where all moments exist simultaneously. For some, these time-bending moments come through dreams. They dream about people they've never met, places they've never visited, and later find themselves standing in those exact circumstances. Others have waking visions or intuitive feelings so strong they adjust their actions to avoid danger or help someone just in time. These experiences often leave them wondering, am I imagining this, or am I being shown something I'm meant to know? The answer lies in how aligned your spiritual senses are. Time is not linear in the spiritual realm. It's fluid, like a river. And spiritually gifted individuals may occasionally step out of the current, just long enough to catch a glimpse of what's downstream. However, this ability also brings responsibility. Not every vision is meant to be acted on. Sometimes it's a warning, sometimes a message. Sometimes just a reminder that you're connected to something far beyond this moment. If you've ever felt like you've lived through a moment before it happened, or experienced flashes of a future you can't explain, you are not imagining things. You may have been given a rare ability to slip beyond time, if only for a heartbeat, and return with wisdom the world hasn't caught up to yet. 9. They can create amazing worlds with their imagination, architects of the inner universe. To many, imagination is just daydreaming, a pleasant escape, a mental sandbox. But for spiritually gifted individuals, imagination is far more than fantasy. It's a portal, a tool, a spiritual language, a space where inner worlds come alive with such intensity that they feel almost more real than the one outside. People with spiritual gifts often possess incredibly vivid imaginations, not simply as a form of escapism, but as a way to process energy, receive messages, and build meaning in their lives. They can create entire landscapes in their minds, lush forests, glowing mountains, ancient temples, celestial skies. These aren't just creative visuals, they are real spaces within the soul, spaces they return to for comfort, clarity, or even divine connection. When life becomes too loud or emotionally overwhelming, spiritually gifted people instinctively retreat into these inner worlds. It's not because they're antisocial or disconnected, it's because their inner realms are so richly developed that they provide a healing refuge, a sacred space untouched by the chaos of the external world. Here they can breathe, heal, remember who they are. As children, they may have been labeled too imaginative or lost in their heads. Teachers might have called them daydreamers, but what no one realized is that they were often channeling unseen energies, playing with frequencies, or exploring places that others couldn't access. Some even talk about meeting spirit guides, hearing inner music, or seeing vivid colors that held messages, all in the sanctuary of their imagination. As adults, this gift can evolve into creative genius. Many spiritually gifted individuals become writers, artists, musicians, storytellers, or visionaries, using their inner worlds to inspire others. Their work often carries a haunting beauty, a sense that something divine or otherworldly has touched it. That's because it has. But imagination also serves a deeper purpose. For the spiritually gifted, it becomes a mirror of the soul, revealing their fears, desires, spiritual wounds, and secret dreams. Through imagination, they engage in powerful inner healing, rewriting old narratives, speaking with their inner child, or building futures that feel aligned with their true essence. Yet this gift, like all others, can become a burden if misunderstood. They may feel isolated, misjudged. Others may struggle to relate to someone who spends hours in silence, eyes open but soul far away. But those who understand know these moments of silence are not emptiness. They are voyages, deep, spiritual, creative journeys through dimensions only a few are allowed to see. If your imagination often feels like a second home, if it's your sanctuary, your playground, your temple, you're not just creative, you're connected. Your mind is not a maze, it's a map, and it's leading you somewhere only your soul is meant to go. 10. They encounter insomnia and/or nightmares, the weight of spiritual messages at midnight. For many spiritually gifted people, nighttime is anything but peaceful. While others drift into rest, those with spiritual sensitivity often find themselves restless, wide-eyed, or tangled in dreams that feel far too real. This isn't just insomnia, and it's not simply an overactive imagination. It's the soul stirring under the surface, trying to speak, send, or receive something that can only be understood when the world is quiet. If you're spiritually gifted, sleep might feel like crossing a threshold, not into rest, but into another realm where messages, warnings, and energy swirl just beneath the surface of your consciousness. Your mind doesn't shut off easily. Your heart feels heavy. Your dreams are vivid, symbolic, sometimes disturbing, but they aren't random. They are trying to tell you something. Nightmares, especially, can hold powerful meanings. They may reveal inner fears or unresolved trauma, but they can also act as spiritual alerts, flashes of energy your subconscious is trying to interpret. Some dreams carry future events, emotional truths, or symbolic messages meant to guide your waking life. The terror in them isn't always about fear, it's about urgency, a call to pay attention. For others, the issue isn't nightmares, but a complete inability to sleep during certain hours, especially between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m., when spiritual activity is said to peak. During these hours, the veil is thin, and the frequency of the spirit world aligns with heightened human receptivity. You may be tossing and turning, not because of caffeine or stress, but because your energy is too open, too alert, too entangled in frequencies from realms beyond. Some spiritually gifted people report sensing presences in the room, hearing voices, or feeling watched. Others wake up suddenly with a feeling of being called, though they can't explain by what or whom. These are all signs that your energetic and spiritual awareness doesn't sleep just because your body does. This can be exhausting. But over time, gifted individuals learn to manage this nightly disruption. They develop spiritual practices to protect their energy before bed, like cleansing, meditating, or calling in spiritual guardians. Some keep dream journals, looking for patterns or decoding symbols. Others begin to trust their dreams, recognizing them as part of their spiritual work. If your nights are long and your dreams are loud, take heart. You're not broken. You're not haunted. You're awake in a way most people aren't. You're not just dreaming. You're receiving, processing, connecting. Your gift isn't asleep at night. It's most alive. If you've seen yourself in these 10 signs, if your spirit resonates with even a few, then perhaps you've always known somewhere deep down that you're not like everyone else. You feel more, see more, carry more. And while that can be overwhelming, it's also profoundly beautiful. Your gift isn't a burden, it's an invitation to live consciously, to walk gently, to love deeply, to awaken. What did you think about today's video? Feel free to share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Thank you for watching. If this video opened your mind or helped you see reality in a new light, don't forget to like and subscribe to Top Hidden Knowledge so you never miss our next deep dive into mystery, perception, and the hidden workings of our universe. And If you have time, explore more videos on our channel. We're just getting started. Until next time, stay curious, stay aware, and never stop questioning the world around you.